So we're crab snaring off the coast of California. Something I've noticed about this location is that these rocks here, these are part of the Parisma Formation, which is a group of sedimentary rocks from a couple million years ago. Not too old for us geologists, but pretty old for just in general. So these are part of a marine terrace formation. And that means that it was at the bottom of the ocean at one point in time. So I'm pointing to a bivalve here, and all of this was uplifted from the bottom of the ocean to where it is now. And it occurs in series, so that's why all the different rocks are there on top of this one. And this is a bottommost layer, and this is, to me, it looks like siltstone. So the grain size of the rocks inside are not that big, pretty small. Not the smallest type, definitely representative of deeper ocean. And over here, it looks like I found another bivalve shell, and you'll see that there's a lot of cracks in this area. There's a bunch of orange stuff inside. That's just like iron oxide, which is just rust. And over here, we have a lot of burrows. So this is evidence of past life that burrowed in the sand or the silt grains. So in this case, it could have been things like sand crabs at the time. So now we walk over to the area that was shown in the beginning, and there's a lot more burrows here, along with some more mollusk shells. That one's a pretty well-preserved bivalve, or a clam shell. You can still see all the ridges on it, which is pretty rare. So all of this is about Miocene age. So that's about 3 million years ago. You'll see that the waves are coming up on this siltstone layer. So those waves are just eroding away that layer, and eventually forms a sand below. Looks like I found another mollusk shell. Looks like there's 2 of them there. So yeah, the waves come in pretty close, especially at high tide. One of the main ways to tell if something is a burrow or not is to see what color it is and see if it's the same as the layer above. So when this animal burrowed down, the sediment from that time filled in, and it was fossilized in that way. I don't have footage of me pulling this guy up, but still, this is a pretty big male. This one was a gauge buster for sure. I'd noticed that the crabs would always go after the anchovy's eyes first and ignore everything else. That's a pretty good way to figure out if your bait has been eaten by crabs or not. I've noticed that a lot of surf fishing tutorials will talk about reading the beach. I've always had trouble with that, even after I went to school for this kind of stuff. So I've noticed here that the waves are acting differently. Some of them are crisscrossing. They're not really crashing directly towards me. Some are just kind of off in a weird direction. And I would imagine there's a bunch of crabs in there too, to hide from the crashing waves. You always want to look for change, and not places where waves are just crashing like you would expect. Something different. So I would guess that to be a pretty good place to cast. So I was able to keep the crab alive and healthy for the entire ride home. I didn't use an aerator, I just swished the water around every once in a while. It seemed to work pretty well.